Good morning, Prashant.
Good morning, Aparna.
Hello, Sham.
Hello, Anna. We are live.
Good morning, everyone. Good to be back here. This is Prashant Priyadarshi, your host for today. I welcome you all to the 15th day of this intensive phase. As you have already completed half the journey of the second phase, I'm sure some of you must have seen visible results, benefits, and a better transformed you. It is so heartening to see you all coming every day, every morning, and attend all these sessions with so much commitment and dedication. And I'm sure you all have been truly inspiring for many. Yesterday, we talked about a very interesting topic, which was BMR, a deep dive to basal metabolic rate. Today's topic is equally exciting, which is TEF, a deep dive to thermic effect of food. And to talk about it, please help me invite Dr. Shyam Ramakrishnan, Director, Innovation and Science, again, who has been an integral part of this transformation journey. So over to you, Dr. Saab.
Thank you, Prashant. I hope you can hear me. Okay, perfect. Yes. And a very good morning, everyone, from me. Today, I'm very excited to have Aparna Damle going to present to us on thermic effect of food. It is something an less understood phenomenon in the body. So for me, this is a great insight you would all get from this particular topic. So I'm very excited to hear Aparna Damle, who is one of our top scientists in innovation science. But before she comes on board, I just want to share my thought of the day. So I'm sure you have heard of Blue Zone somewhere, but if you haven't heard of Blue Zone, I just want to spend a few minutes on the Blue Zone with you, on reflections on the Blue Zone, particularly because it is something which has affected and improved my life quite a bit. So for me, I just want to give a salute to this particular topic. So blue zones, what are blue zones? They are regions of the world where people live much longer than average. Right? The term was first used by Dan Buettner, who worked with National Geographic to identify places where there's a high concentration of centenarians. These centenarians are typically who live 100 plus years, right? So, and there are 5 recognized blue zones in the world. There could be many others, I'm sure, but there are 5 well-recognized blue zones, which are Icaria, Greece, Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, and then Loma Linda, California, USA, which is not very far from where I live. Right? So then the question is, what are the characteristics or key behaviors of the people who live in blue zone? Right? Why blue zone? So let me explain to you what are those characteristics. One is definitely the plant-based diet. Most of their food intake is derived from plants, especially legumes, right? Legumes like beans, any of the legumes, right? And the meat is consumed infrequently and in small amounts. Second point is regular physical exercise. It doesn't mean they're going to the gym. No, they walk a lot, right? They incorporate movements into your daily life, like walking to the shop, walking, doing the grocery. It could be gardening, it could be many things, but they incorporate it. It's built in as a natural extension of their life. It's not like I have to go to the gym, right? But it's a part of their life. So then the third one is a healthy social network. So this is an amazing information because it gives them. It's a kind of a stress reliever. It sometimes science cannot explain how humans bond and maintain a strong familial and a community ties. right? And these all add value to their life. The fourth one is purpose. Many of the residents often have a clear sense of purpose in their life. In Okinawa, they call it ikigai, and in Nicoya, they call it plan de vida, right? So these are the purpose in life. I don't know whether any of you have seen the movie Saransh, in which Anupam Kher talk about one of the very famous statement is find a purpose. Zindagi mein maqsad dhoondho, right? There is a statement which I still remember 20 years ago when I saw, or maybe 25 years ago when I saw the movie. Right? And it still resonates with me, and for me it hits me so well when I see the blue zone. Then, of course, moderate calorie intake. They practice in Japan, they call it harahachibu, where in Okinawa particularly, where it means eat till you are only 80% full, right? So these are some very simple things, nothing magical about anything, right? These are very simple things which we can incorporate. And if you ask me, Dr. Sham, have you incorporated some of this? Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the purpose I mentioned to you before, plant-based diet, regular physical activity. I try to walk whenever I get a chance, walk whenever I get a chance. I live in a community where walking is easier. So I try to do that quite a bit. Moderate calorie intake, engagement with social groups, positive social groups, right? And engaging, calling, having my network in India and California. I make those network, make sure the networks are alive, make sure that we can chat over the phone, 5 minutes, 10 minutes here, there. Simple things, simple happiness are what really makes my life content. So that's all from my side today. I know it's not on health, on weight, or on foods, but I thought it's a very important topic for me, which has personally affected me positively. So that's all from my side. So let me invite Aparna Damle to hear her wonderful recitation of the thermic effect of food. Aparna, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Sham, and thank you so much for sharing that wonderful information about Blue Zone. Um, so today's session is all about thermic effect of food, as Dr. Sham already gave you a background. This is one of the important components and less discussed or less understood component of how the energy is expended in the body, right? We have all heard about thermodynamics, right? That's the science of energy, wherein we know that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, and it can be only converted from one form to the other, right? Similarly, the food which we eat is also a form of energy, right? Um, Wherein it is made by the plants using solar energy and converted into food. And that is what we consume as energy, also called as calories, right? So the calorie is basically the unit of measurement of this energy. So the number of calories is basically the amount of energy we are consuming. So now it's all about a balance when it comes to weight management, right? It's all about a balance between the amount of energy you consume and the amount of energy you expend in the form of calories, right? And when this equation, shifts to either of a side or is equal, has tremendous effect on weight gain or weight loss, right? When the energy intake is higher and the expenditure is lower, the energy gets stored in the body, and that's how we gain. While when the energy is expended more as compared to the energy we take in as in the form of food, that is how we lose weight. And when the amount of energy taken in and expended is equal, that's when we maintain our weight, right? And there are various ways in which energy is expended in the body. And one of them, the major one, is BMR, which we talked about yesterday in our yesterday's session, right? About 70% of it is expended in performing those various physiological functions which are happening inside our body without our knowledge. Like the beating of the heart, or the respiration which we are doing, right? The breathing in and breathing out. All this requires energy, which we did discuss about yesterday. But then there is also the rest 30%, which is also expended in various forms, which is EAT, NEAT, and TEF, right? So EAT is nothing but exercise associated thermogenesis, or the physical activity which we indulge into. It can be in the form of aerobics, gymming, running, walking, right? Any kind of physical exercises. And NEAT is the non exercise associated thermogenesis, which is, you know, expended while performing various chores in your day-to-day life, right? It can be just walking from your seat to the kitchen to get a glass of water, right? It can be as simple as that, or taking the stairs, or walking to your grocery store, or even standing for that matter, comes under the non-exercise associated thermogenesis, which is substantial, which is about 15%. And the rest is coming through thermic effect of food, right? Now you might be wondering, does even digestion of food require energy? Yes, it does require energy in even breaking down the food which we eat, which is around 10%. Now it's up to us how we modulate this energy in and energy out, right? The amount of energy we consume and the amount of energy which we expend. This is something which we can work on. We can incorporate certain important tips which we will give through this session, basis which we can increase the energy expenditure through these various activities, and specifically through thermic effect of food. Now, what is thermic effect of food? This is basically a postprandial physiological phenomena. To put in simple terms, as soon as we put the food into our mouth, and the process which follows thereafter, every process comes under thermic effect of food. How the food is taken in the mouth, wherein salivary enzymes or the amylases are released to break down some of the carbohydrates, right? And then it is taken in to the stomach through the esophagus to the food pipe, to the peristaltic movement, which is the contraction and relaxation which happens through our mouth up to the stomach in the food pipe. That's how the food moves to the stomach, and where the stomach acids and various other enzymes like pepsin are released to further break down the food which we have just swallowed in. This further moves to the intestine. Again, there are various other enzymes which are released to break down different types of macronutrients, right? The protein, carbohydrate, fat, which we eat as part of our food, uh, all is broken down by various sets of enzymes, and they are further absorbed into the body, and they reach our bloodstream. From there, they're processed in the liver, and they reach the other parts of our body, our cells, which require that energy, right? That simplest source of energy, which is glucose, which reaches different parts of the body to perform various physiological functions, right? And the whole process involves energy, because releasing of enzymes, or digesting, breaking down these complex molecules to simpler molecules, requires energy to be expended by the body. And this is defined as the increase in metabolic rate also after ingestion, right? The metabolic rate also goes up, and this is known through various other names as well, like specific dynamic action or diet induced thermogenesis as well. Now, there are various things which can influence your thermic effect of food, like increasing your protein consumption in the diet, and also having whole foods, right? Limiting processed food and having more of whole food. Regular physical exercises also has a great influence on thermic effect of food, including spices. So that's the reason why we should spice up our food, right? Incorporate various spices in our food, and those also has been shown through research to influence our thermic effect of food. Having an early dinner. So in one of our previous sessions, we have learned about circadian rhythm, right? And also how important it is to time our meals and not to have it at random times because it is deeply connected with our physiological functioning. There are various factors which are affecting the thermic effect of food, right? Like the meal timing, which we just discussed, physical activities, the meal composition itself, the kind of meal we are having, right? And the degree of food processing. How complex is our food or how simple is our food also has a great bearing on thermic increasing or modulating the thermic effect of food. So let's understand it a little more in depth. How do different nutrients have an effect on increasing or modulating the thermic effect of food? So here you can see, just a minute, you can see these are the three important macromolecules, right? The fat, carbohydrate, and protein. Now, there are various studies which have been performed to understand, how these fat, carbohydrate, and protein is digested and how much energy is consumed by each of these macromolecules, right? So when they looked at it, uh, what was found interestingly was fat consumes the least amount of energy for its breakdown, while carbohydrates takes about 5 to 15% energy for its breakdown, while protein consumes the maximum amount of energy for its breakdown, assimilation, storage, right? The various activities what I mentioned previously. So you can see that in the graph that once we consume our meal, wherein in this axis you see the number of hours following the meal and the amount of energy consumed by each one of these macromolecules, right? Protein consumes the maximum amount of energy. Now, in simpler terms, we can have an example of olive oil, which is an example of fat with uh, 1 tablespoon of fat consumes about 2 calories of energy, while a banana, a standard medium-sized banana, consumes about 8 to 10 calories of energy for its breakdown and complete, digestion, while around 80 to 100 grams of protein takes about 25 calories for its complete digestion. So you can see this comparison how protein consumes the maximum amount of energy. So if we want to reduce our weight, so the amount of energy expended has to be higher, right? And therefore that is the reason why we recommend increase in protein consumption in our diet. This is one of the important factors which contributes to energy expenditure. So the meal composition is also something which we talked about, which is a very important factor, right? Higher the protein in the meals, they have higher thermic effect on the food, which we just discussed, as compared to lower amount of protein in the meals. Similarly, when you incorporate higher complex carbohydrate in your diet, right, more of fiber in your carbohydrates, even that increases the amount of calories burnt. You can see in this graph. And that's the reason why we should have more of whole food in our diet, because why is it that protein requires more energy and whole food requires more energy? Because in general, the protein has a much complex structure, right? It requires more energy for its breakdown. The proteins in its is in a very complex structure wherein they are wound around each other, and therefore they require more number amount of enzyme, more variety of enzyme to break it down into simpler peptides and then amino acids, which is taken in the body. For this, these amino acids are again restructured in the body, right, to perform various functions. Like hemoglobin is also a protein. which is a complex protein. Now, again, a lot of energy is required to form hemoglobin. Similarly, whole foods like carbohydrates also are having very complex structure, and that's the reason why they require more energy for its breakdown. While fat has relatively simpler structure, and therefore it requires the minimum amount of energy for its breakdown and assimilation. How does physical activity have a bearing on thermic effect of food? Now, there was an interesting study which was published in the Journal of Gerontology, wherein, irrespective of their age, there was an increase in thermic effect of food when people were more active, right? Here you can see that the younger group had increased their thermic effect of food by 45%, while the older group increased their thermic effect by 31%, right, when compared to their respective sedentary group. So this is a very interesting finding, right, wherein the age has not had as much bearing as, incorporating your physical activity. You can see in this graph that this is the amount of energy expended in the sedentary individuals, right, who are not indulging in any kind of exercise following a meal. This is the resting metabolic rate, that BMR, which we talked about, the minimum amount of energy required to perform our basic functions. Now, when we incorporate a low intensity exercise, right, we can see the jump in the amount of energy required, right, in breaking down the food or the whole process of digestion. And when the intensity is further increased, the amount of energy required further goes up, right? So it has a very synergistic effect. The meal composition further adds to this effect, wherein there was another study which was published in the Journal of Science and Medicine in Sport, wherein they showed that when the exercise is combined with a high amount of protein, they see that the TEF further goes up, right? So it has a combined effect. Exercise along with um, um, the right kind of diet in our food. The meal timing also has a very important bearing on the TEF, right? These are the various ways wherein we can modulate our thermic effect of food. We can increase the thermic energy of food, right? This was a clinical study which was published in American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, where they gave equicalorie or equal amount of calories across the three meals: in the morning at around 9 o'clock, late evening, 5 o'clock, and late night or early in the morning, which is around 1 o'clock. Now, in our previous session, we have talked about circadian rhythm, right? Wherein how important it is to maintain our meal timings, because our endocrine system, which releases the various hormones, also are very timed, wherein morning is the maximum activity, right? And that's how we see in this graph as well, wherein in the morning, the amount of energy spent in the food assimilation is maximum, right? While in the afternoon, the amount of thermic effect of energy of food is reduced, while it is the lowest at night. That is because also it is closely related to the metabolism, right? The metabolic rate itself is reduced towards the night, and therefore the amount of energy released or consumed also goes down, right? It is a direct effect, and therefore it's important that we finish or complete our meal, you know, by evening and do not push it for late night. Processed food again has a lot of effect on thermic effect of food, right? To increase or modulate the thermic effect of food. Now, in this interesting study, what was seen was, the processed food requires less amount of energy in its digestion, while whole food required more amount of energy in burning, right? This is again simple to understand because um, simpler food have simpler molecules in them, right? The carbohydrates is already broken down into sugar, simpler sugars like glucose. Protein is also in, it's minimal. In processed food, there's absolutely almost no protein, and there's a high amount of salt and fat, right? Which is also adds to this um, uh, processed food, right? And the amount of energy spent in digesting this processed food is much lesser. And that is one of the other important reason why we should reduce the consumption of um, uh, the processed food, you know, highly processed food. More the processed food, more it is simpler and lesser energy does it take to break down. The other important factor is incorporating more of spices, right? Spices are those compounds like our ingredients like ginger, pepper, capsaicin, which is seen. It's a ingredient which is seen in chilies, right? The red chilies, green chilies, or capsicum, mustard, turmeric, cinnamon. So these are some of the various spices which are well studied, well understood to an extent more than others, wherein it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. In simpler terms, you can imagine a bonfire, right? Wherein, the wood is burning. But when you add ghee or ghee to it, right, it burns more intensely. Spices does something similar. It works as an additive to increase the metabolic rate, right, by activating the sympathetic nervous system. And that's how increased metabolism requires more of energy, and thereby the thermic effect of food also goes up. That is, the energy consumption goes up. So this was an interesting again a study, which was published in Metabolism, wherein they showed that breakfast, when taken with ginger and without ginger, had very different effects. When you consume your breakfast along with ginger, the amount of energy required, again, thermic energy, increased as compared to the breakfast without ginger. So, this is an important, interesting finding because I think as Indian food is already rich in a lot of spices, and I think that is one of the primary reason why we should increase our intake of spices because it not only increases the thermic effect of food but also improves our satiety as per the study. So coming to various tips to improve the thermic effect of food, increase the energy expenditure as we learned through the session today is to include more of protein because it contributes to around 10% more calories. Now, just one interesting fact is which I want to share is how did they arrive at 10%, right? When you consume 100 calories, right? Equicalorie diet wherein it has all the three macromolecules in equal amounts, it requires around 10 calories to burn it, right? And it depending on the composition of these macromolecules in your diet, it can either go up or go down, right? And that's how including protein in our meals, it increases this 10%, it raises the bar, right? More of calories is consumed as we learned in breaking down the protein, assimilating the protein in the body. And therefore, include protein, any kind of protein source in all three major meals, right? Increase physical activity. We saw it has a very synergistic effect. Include more of whole foods. Add more spices in our diet, right? In the form of seasonings or spice blends or marinades. And have a early dinner and stay healthy. So these are some of the ways through which we can increase our thermic effect, right? This is something which is very much in our hands, and therefore the activity of the day is also around it, wherein you need to include at least one protein source in all three major meals of your day and garnish it with spices of your choice. So, with that, I would like to end my session and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Aparna. It was wonderful. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. Uh, Many of us, I'm sure, could very easily understand uh, the thermic effect of food, how it works, what are the factors that affect it, why we should incorporate more protein in our diet, uh, why we should incorporate spices. One more function of spices. Why do we need to uh, not only add spice to our meals, but one way or the other, somehow it also adds spice to our life as well, towards a healthy life. So very well said. Uh, it was really an eye opener for me also, because I was all ears throughout the entire session. Uh, it was good to know very simply कि सिर्फ अदरक खा के we can assess this TEF process. Even I was not aware that ginger happens to increase your satiety feeling and keeps you fuller for a longer period of time. Very interestingly and simple words. Even I could make some notes ki, how I'm going to do next when I think about TEF, or think about increasing my body temperature and burn more calories, expend more energy. So walking is the simplistic way of doing it, rightly said. And as it is, we should try to incorporate more protein for so many various other reasons as well. Uh, if you indulge in physical exercises, if you do muscle building and uh, do HIIT or lift weights to maintain your muscle mass or to improve your muscle mass, to gain some muscle, to tone your muscles, whatever goal we have, protein is the key. And why and how we should consciously give it a try and effort. Ki we should eat early. मतलब, every single day we have a new dimension, we have a new angle of why we should do the healthier things. So it is being added on every day by day. So it enriches us all. Uh, it was good to know. I think there were 4 takeaways. Very simply said, there were 4 takeaways of your insight today. Why we should have more protein in our diet, why we should consciously add some spices to our meals. Activity of the day itself suggests that one should try to incorporate at least one source of protein in each of the meals that we have. Generally 3 meals every person has every day. We should walk around. The whole idea and the basic idea is to increase the NEAT as well, along with TEF, and why we should eat early. I believe this was good enough, and it will enrich us all, I'm sure. Or I believe Swati is with us, because the next part is going to be the AJ. I call it AJ, which is Action Junction. और हमेशा की तरह इस बार भी I would like to repeat that it is not over until it is over. When we talk about healthier, better self, physical exercise happens to be an integral part of it. So we cover all the dimensions, we cover all the areas. We talk about eating, we talk about calorie restriction, we talk about increasing the body temperature, we talk about TEF, BMR, all those technical things. But all said and done, it is still not complete until we incorporate the last part, which is the exercise part. This also has been a key of this transformation journey, an integral part. और थोड़ा मजा भी आता है, मतलब ठीक है, apart from all these theories, it is good to be in action mode. So, and Meenal has been doing it consistently, day in day out basis, every single day, with different activities, different uh, uh, types of exercises. I could witness one of those jahan pe she talked about increasing the mobility, which is so important. So physical exercise, whenever we talk about physical exercise or a body parts movement, so there are certain key aspects to it. Each one of us should try to maintain our muscle mass as we age, because we know that after 40, every person loses 1% of muscle mass and 10% of muscle strength. So we should remember this, and people over 40 has an accountability and responsibility towards it. That if they wish to maintain their muscle mass, if they do not want to either look obese, overweight, or very skinny, thin person, then it has to be done. So the key aspects of exercises are maintaining our muscle mass, increasing our mobility, try to improve each one of us in doing the daily chores. Functional training के through जो हम through functional training we can increase the basic chores daily basis पे जो हम करते हैं, carrying a bag of grocery, lifting a child, whatever. So I think our expert is here with us, or she is the better person to talk about it. So I would like to invite our fitness expert, Meenal Pathak. So Meenal, over to you.
Thank you, Prashant. Hello everyone. Good morning and very warm welcome to today's session. Let's get started. We're going to start with some mat workout today. So let's come down to the mat and let's get started. Let's start with some simple warm-up moves. You're going to tuck your toes in and then stretch them out. Make sure while you're doing it, you are engaging right from your pelvic floor muscles. So the movement is not from the knees. The movement is right from your pelvic floor muscle. You're going to keep your core nicely engaged all the way. Stretch in and then point it out. Again, stretch in and then point it out. You will sit nice and tall from the mat. And if you find it difficult to do it, squeeze in a cushion. And then sit on it. This will give you a length and the support. Let's go ahead. A nice deep inhale, in, exhale, out. Inhale, in. Exhale out. Inhale in. Exhale out. Inhale in. Feel the stretch from the palms to your hamstrings. Pull. Do the circles. Pull clockwise and anti-clockwise. You're gonna move it nice and tall on the sides. Lengthen through the spine. And let it go. Let's start with the butterfly. I want you to squeeze your heels as close as possible. Lengthen through the spine and again. It has to be right from your inner thighs, not from the knees. You'll be bringing it in and pressing it out right from your inner thighs. It out. Inhale and exhale. Keep that breath work going. And now we're going to stretch it out on the mat. See how far you can open. Bring that length right from inner thighs to the calves. And let's see, more you are doing these movements, better is your spine mobility, better is your flexibility. You are able to move better, you are able to lift better, and you are able to walk better. Please engage and stretch. This side. Then center. And again this side. It's perfectly fine if you're not able to hold on to your toes. Go and hold your ankles. Okay. Please, whichever way you feel more comfortable. We'll try to do 10 and 10 both the sides. So here we go. 1 and 1. Side. 4 obliques. Left. 2 and 2. Breathe out. 3. So you will inhale at the center. Every time you shift the exhale, that is the side, is you're going to go deeper. Again, exhale, center, and then again exhale. Inhale, and 5, and 5. And 6, 7, 8. Let's add a circular movement. So how will we do a circular movement? You're going to stretch your hands forward. You're going to move in a circular movement. Where you feel the pressure. Yes, inner thigh. You feel as if they're falling apart. You'll also feel it in your obliques, your core. You're going to lengthen that spine as well. Movement, back, back. If it makes you dizzy, keep your eyes open and go only to the level from where you can come back easily. Friends, we'll start with 10 cycles. This side, lengthen, lengthen, and pull it back. This goes 2 and back. 3. When I'm coming forward, I'm hinging right from my hips, not rolling. Yeah? So your shoulders are rolled back, your chest is lifted. You are not rounding your spine. You are hinging from the hips like this. 3 and bring it back. 4 and bring it back. 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Next numbers to the other side. 1, back. 2, last 4, 7, bring it back. This time, a single heel to your groin as deep as possible. You will lengthen the leg forward. A nice deep inhale, lengthen up. As you exhale, you're gonna fold forward. Now, how far you will go? This as per your stretching power. Do not roll again from the spine. So squeeze. Inhale, and then as you exhale, firstly, hold your knee, hold, lengthen, and then stretch. See how far you can take it. Surrender. Get the feeling of surrender when you get your head down. Right from your tailbone, you're gonna lengthen that spine. Tap your core in. Anyone with the cervical pain will not look down. You'll only stretch up like this. Hold for a while. And inhale and breathe deeper. Push the heel as deep as possible in your groin. And then stretch. Same to the other side. Anyone who feels that the pain and you are not able to push the heel in, it's perfectly fine. Just keep this leg slightly open. Lengthen your other leg. Stretch up. Exhale and fold forward. Again, when you fold, it's coming from your hips hinge, not from your shoulders. That's why your hands are. You can roll your knees slightly, lock it to the chest, and then hold over. See how far you can. Let's do the same with both the legs. A nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, you're gonna stretch forward. Then hold and exhale. See how far you can do. You are hinging right from the hips, not pulling from the shoulders. If your leg stays up, it's perfectly fine. We need this stretch here. Lengthen. Hold. Do not let this pressure go away from your lower lumbar spine. And done. Rise up. Just because we've done some poses which are forward folding, forward bending, we'll also do the poses which are back bending and back poses. Number one, the most effective one and the most simplest one is a fish pose. We call it Matsyasana. Great to open up your chest, your shoulders, as well as relax your cervical spine as it works with your throat open. But still, you will stay in your comfortable range. Push yourself too much with any of them. You'll come down in a supine pose. Let's do a bridge pose before we move into the fish. your feet, your hips, and your shoulders all in one straight line. Lengthen your spine. Tuck the core in. You're going to squeeze and rise up. Hold it here. Inhale, exhale. And release. Your spine completely down to the mat. Now, you're going to put your feet in the butterfly. Just the way we did butterfly, but Suktasana. We're going to do it in the lying down position. Butterfly. Both your palms facing down under your hips. Now, you're going to rise up with your elbows digging in the mat. You're going to rise up with your elbows digging in the mat and your crown chakra the mat. So this, you're going to rise up like this. Your elbows digging in the mat and crown chakra in the mat. This crown chakra will be on the mat. And if you think it's difficult, you can leave your hair open and see whichever part of your head can go down. Lengthen and hold here. And tight close so that you can see. Hold together, tucking the core in, both. Squeeze. Hold. Tuck. Look up. Keep the pressure right from your core. Bring it down. Legs relaxed, palms also relaxed. Nice deep inhale. Let's move on to the next pose. We'll start with the bridge pose and then we'll move on to the wheel pose. Okay? So the basic criteria behind the wheel pose is that your core muscles are engaged and opened up, pushed up. Your chest, your shoulders all get lifted up while your navel is engaged in. Your both the palms will be in, pointed in. You're going to lengthen that spine and rise up. In, lengthen that spine and then rise up from the core. Remember, it is not pushing from the spine. Keep pushing with your hand, spine. You will not rise up. The movement is engagement of the core, opening up of the chest, and then you slightly lift. Yeah, let's try. Palms in, a nice deep inhale, lengthen through the spine, tucking the core in, squeeze. Hold it here, keep breathing. Slowly, one vertebrae by one vertebrae, you're gonna get down to the as low as and relax. Again, get that breath, inhale and exhale. Another back bending pose which you can do and which is very easy to perform is the Bhujangasana. From the Bhujangasana or a cobra pose, you take the forward. So your elbows stay squeezed in, your palm stays closer to your chest, your toe stays pointed. A nice deep inhale as you rise up. Look up. And slowly go down. So you not lock your elbows and pull the shoulders up. It's open and stretched back. And down. In the same way, when we go up in a bow pose, you're gonna fold your feet but not lock together in the front. You're gonna open it up. The more you are able to open up, the better will be your rise back. Tap the forehead, lengthen the spine, squeeze. Now the idea is to fold up and not back. See how far you can be. Tap the forehead, lift and open. For the power of your core and hold. A nice deep breather and exhale. You know, when we say that you have mastered the pose, or when we say that you are doing the right way of yoga or right way of practicing the asanas, you can smile through your asana and not like, oh, no faces. Breathe through your asanas. Smile through your asanas. Let it flow through you. Shoulders rolled back, chest lifted. It is how you are processing the system or the structure of your physical body. With the breath, engage, lift, smile, and slowly let it go. Take a breather. Bhujangasana, a nice deep inhale. Let's hold back. As you exhale, look down to the child. Full deep stretch. Lengthen your heels and your bums together and stretch out. Relax. walk to the other side. Rise up and walk. Walk to the other side. While your hip stays here, your knee stays here. And then stretch up. Rise up and walk to the other side. Back to the center on the mat. Slowly rub your palms over to your eyes. So this forward bending and then back bending, all these moves completely relax up your spine and all the stored and heavy emotions. So you'll feel very light, very relaxed, and use this energy to, fulfill all that you want to achieve during the day. Stay energetic, keep rocking, have a great day. I'll see you. Bye, take care.
Thank you,
Thank
Milal.
you, Prashant.
Thank you, Milal. Thanks a lot. Again, it was wonderful. And uh, all these moves, I'm sure, will make our body even more flexible, more functional. So thank you so much for your
Thanks.
valuable insights. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Uh, for those who could not join in for any reason, don't worry. We keep posting the recorded links for recorded versions. So recorded links will be shared soon. You know, every day we get them, and they are active till 11 p.m. So for those people who could not join, they will have an option to go through the session live recorded session via recorded links. So thank you so much for joining, and wish you a wonderful day.